Hello, friends. Let's do a Saturday Reads where I've finished my shopping list for tomorrow. I've gotten into getting up as early as I can on Sunday morning, which is the first day of my weekend, and going off and doing grocery shopping. Very first thing, which is like, ah, A, there's not very many people around, which is always a bonus. And B, if I get it done. I come home, I have breakfast, and it's like I have a whole day versus what I was doing before, which was getting up, reading, having breakfast, kind of getting a list together. And then finally, by the time I'd actually gotten through groceries and everything like that, the entire first day of my 2 day weekend was over. And I was rushing headlong into the rest of my basically right back into work again. So, yes, that is good. Another thing maybe I can get into is to try and do a Saturday Reads. I don't know if I'll do it every week because I just I just cannot read that fast, and it would just be a repetition. But that said, let's get to it. So I am continuing my love affair with. Oh, let me unplug something right now while I'm thinking about it. I'm continuing my love affair with my Umidigi G1 tab. That is my extremely cheap tablet that I am using for reading comics. I still am reading comics. I've been reading Animal Man. I finished Grant Morrison's run of Animal Man, kind of radical vegetarian. This is like written in like 19, I think at the 80s, late 80s. With it's had unfortunately by the end of it, it had a dip very much into sort of multiverse meta stuff, which probably maybe at the time, probably charitably at the time, was wow, this is mind-bending stuff, and now kind of seems like it's kind of overworked. But yeah, there's just like Grant Morrison definitely is somebody who never found a really bizarre idea that he didn't want to go up with. At a certain point, I think Animal Man and a fellow take heavy drugs on top of a mesa and have visions. We get Boanna Man, the white god of Kilimanjaro, which to Grant Morrison's credit, he quickly just demolishes and sets aside the white character as the white god of Kilimanjaro. It's very I don't know, just like the is it it's Tom. This is actually these are guest artists in this particular page. The Martian Manhunter has come for a visit, but that to me, like especially the woman there, that is very much kind of John Byrne ish kind of how women were represented there. Not the most egregious representation of women, though. Funnily enough, I have to say that the big thing I am using this tablet for is at lunchtime. I'm using it to just read on my Kindle app. I'm finding it very good for as I'm reading Barbara Tuchman's The Proud Tower, a portrait of the world before the war, 1880 to 1914, which, oh, when I found out that Barbara Tuchman was writing about this particular era, because I'm doing this project about 1901, which is 1890 to 1910. I was like, I was so happy when I found out that Tuchman had written a book about this era. Now it's a bunch of kind of it is actually, it works perfectly for me because it is not like one long flowing continuous narrative. It's here's a portrait of this. The patricians, I've done the patricians, kind of the ruling aristocratic cast in England. We've gotten the anarchists of the time, the amount of assassinations, the amount of political turmoil that was happening at that time, all this pent up energy, and the Dreyfus Affair, which is what I've just finished reading. Which I was talking about the Dreyfus Affair with Alphonse Bertillon, but wow, just the it's the Dreyfus Affair, I think, makes like the political turmoil of like the United States in the 60s look like pocket change. Truly, just like holy cow. just the craziness, the madness, the cultural divide, the cultural wars we have today. I can see something like the Dreyfus Affair is not a bad place to look. And I'm going to pick up a book by Ruth Harris that is going to talk about the Dreyfus Affair in particular as a whole book. Later on, I will pick that up. Definitely a part of my 1901 project. But yeah, while I'm reading this, I'm finding the tablet is really great for doing research. I'm web searching, bopping off on different names and kind of bookmarking their Wikipedia articles on them. A lot of writers, a lot of really fascinating politicians. Tuckman. This book was written in like 1965, but Tuckman is so good at making just little pocket portraits of each of people that she decides to kind of focus her story on. It just makes them sound so damn interesting, which, that is the mark of a really great writer and a really great kind of, popular historian. The other thing that I read fairly recently is "Say Nothing" by Patrick Radden Keefe. This is actually I'm sure everyone else has heard of this book. I learned about this book because I was watching John Oliver on Hot Ones, the YouTube thing, where you're promoting something, so you come in and you have to eat chicken wings with increasingly hot sauces, and putting yourself in medical jeopardy to promote whatever you're doing. He's promoting his TV show, which is a really good TV show. But at the very end, he said, "Oh, can I plug something else?" And he mentioned this book, "Say Nothing." So oh, okay, I'll take a look. I'll download a sample from Kindle, and holy cow, this is it's using the disappearance of a mother of 10 Irish Northern Irish woman, Jean McConville, in 1972. She was disappeared, as in she was taken away by the IRA and was never seen again. And he uses that to tell the story of the IRA kind of coming up to the present era, and just the idea of how we're going to remember, things, how people are telling the story of this, especially the stuff on Jerry Adams, the leader of Sinn Féin, also leader on the IRA, despite how much he probably seems to protest against that idea. I just like, this is really well told. I don't know if it's, I know very little about the Irish Troubles, but this was such a gripping story. It was told so well, kind of bouncing back and forth from different perspectives. With Jean McConville, people kind of complained that this isn't a true crime book. It's not. It's a history book. It's a history of the Troubles, using her as this kind of avenue in, but also kind of like grappling with, the really nasty shit that was done in quest of in quest of goals by the IRA, and it's just like, wow, this was so gripping. So just pulled me right through. I am someone who can be a wonk on stuff, and just that will entertain me. This was like kind of like thriller writing to me, at least. Maybe it's because I'm a wonk, it was a thriller writing to me. But yeah, that was really a pleasure. And then, yeah, finally, I'm at the moment, I'm reading The Rover Boys at School, which was published in 1899. So it falls within my 1901 project of reading stuff in that kind of period, by Arthur M. Winfield, which is a pseudonym for Edward Stratemeyer, who founded the Stratemeyer Syndicate, who published all the Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, Tom Swift, all those books with various ghostwriters. This is the very first one of them, so he actually wrote this. I think he actually did crank out a lot of these books himself, but he also had a huge stable of authors who he he got to do it. So I'm actually quite enjoying. I'm reading this out loud because it's a project. It's I got it from Project Gutenberg. It's well out of copyright, so I can read it out loud to myself in like 10-15 minute things, and it's interesting. It's interesting. I have already done one of the books from the Stratemeyer Syndicate, the X Boys at Thunder Canyon, which was a western. This is a boys' school adventure, at least so far. And it is the very first one of these where I've seen young boys. This is Dick, Tom, and Sam Rover, who are super thrilled that they're going to a military academy. So that in itself sort of shows you maybe times have changed a bit. It's like, oh boy, we're getting sent to a military academy, and they're thrilled with that because we're boys and we want to be active and stuff like that. So it is it's actually I can see why these books were enjoyed at the time. So yeah, that is my Saturday reads for March the 2nd, 2024. I don't know, what are you up to? Are you reading ancient children's literature? Are you reading history? I'm also listening to Erasure by I keep on forgetting this because I keep on putting it down and then not picking it up again. I'm also reading Erasure by Percival Everett, which is got turned into American fiction, a now Academy Award nominated film starring Jeffrey Wright. And I'm enjoying that too, but I keep on putting it down and then I need meaning to pick it up again. I don't know if that's the audiobook format or if I just kind of I had a long stretch where I was listening to a lot of audio, and now I seem to have gotten out of that. I'm still listening to like podcasts and things like that, so it's not like I'm not listening to stuff anymore. But for some reason, that maybe that muscle needs to get exercised again. I'll have to see how that goes. Whether I need to put down the audio and pick up a book of it, even though it's not like sometimes you get literary fiction. It's like, oh, okay, this is language, and I need to sort of sit down and read this carefully. Sometimes people actually have more of a conversational tone. This seems like a little bit more, it's very precise. It's very much voice, but it is it's not overflowery literary bullshit as you sometimes get. So yeah, I'm enjoying that as well. All right. I'm gonna stop there. I just natter on, and I try not to. The thing that I do not like about Saturday reads for myself, God, I'm shutting my eyes now. The thing I don't like about Saturday reads or Friday reads for myself is sometimes I feel like, oh, I've talked all about the book. Now I don't feel like I can actually just sort of sit and make a video about the book later if I want to. I'm gonna have to see how that goes. If this feels like it spoils it for me, or if this is just like, okay, I noted very quickly what I was going to talk about. I mean, I don't think I'm going to do a review of Say Nothing or anything other than what I've just said there, because I'm not an expert in Ireland, and I'll just put my foot in it. Yeah, the Rover Boys is fun, but it's ephemera. I'll just give you an update the next time I check in. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. And God, there's just so much in. There's so much. I feel like the Proud Tower is just going to be kind of one of these these kind of basis books that I'm going to launch a lot more of my 1901 project reading on. So. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to stop here. I hope your reading this weekend is going well. I will be able to get to my reading tomorrow. Now I've got to have lunch and get to work. More videos later.